Hey guys, welcome to Serial Killer, the only podcast where we talk about hair and giggle. No, oh wait.
No,
that is not.
that's not 100% right.
So we are a podcast that eats cereal and talks about true crime.
Correct.
Oh, I am one of your hosts, Anastasia Washington.
And I'm your other host, Maria Spertolozzi.
Spertolozzi. That's your song. Did you know you had a song?
Oh, I enjoy it. At least I don't have to write it.
Spertolozzi. So we had another one of those moments where we had a cereal that we were like, we have to eat the cereal because it's timely.
Yeah, timely.
Yeah. And then we're like, we also have to discuss murder because that's what this podcast is about.
Exactly.
And yet we couldn't A to Z this cereal quite. So since this whole situation has happened, I've gotten so many emails and text messages from my friends that are like, you're a true crime person, this is what's happening. So both are timely, and that's the way we're going to A to Z this. We're going to say this cereal is timely because it is October, and we're going to say this crime is timely because it's
literally happening right now.
Even though it's been years and years since the crimes, it is timely because we are finding that a black man is one of the most prolific serial killers of our time, and his name is Samuel.
Of ever.
Yeah, of ever. And his name is Samuel Little. We can A to Z it all kinds of ways, like the cereal kind of looks like little tiny small penises, little small
little
penis.
tiny.
I'm just trying to find places.
I got you. It turns the milk green. I assume some of his victims turned green from strangulation.
Absolutely. We're reaching.
It's fine. On the next episode, you'll hear me reach for my choice.
Oh, perfect. So we are gonna eat and try Captain Crunch Halloween Crunch Limited Edition. And it's going to apparently turn
the milk
milk green, which apparently is something we want.
I don't know. What flavor is it? Is it just regular Captain Crunch flavored?
It is. All I'm
Does it not say?
It's saying Captain Crunch is Halloween Crunch sweetened corn and oat cereal.
Oh, yum! Glad to have that
also,
corn and oats in there.
And then we have a little on the back. A little activity thing.
Ooh.
Maybe we'll put that up.
Pirate ship full of puzzles, so if you will.
Play along. Find all 19 or 15 bats.
Oh, unscramble the letters for some crunch.
Now,
these are terrible.
Oh,
games.
that's Dracula.
Yep,
that's Dracula. Okay, so we're gonna try Halloween. Captain Crunch's Halloween Crunch Limited Edition.
Limited.
Which means that we had a limited amount of time to try it.
Yes.
Which is why we are
trying it now.
So I'm gonna open this up. Captain Crunch was like not really my growing up cereal.
Captain Crunch was a cereal that I don't think my parents ever bought it, but I had friends' parents who would buy it, and it was like the go-to snack cereal. It was like after dance class or something, here's like a Ziploc bag full of Captain Crunch, because you can eat it by the handful, and it's not... Like, you can eat Cheerios by the handful, but who wants to?
I think when I was a kid, like, the like, snacky one that I saw a lot was, like, Apple Jacks, Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of, like the snacky ones, or just, like, Cheerios, like, regular Cheerios or Honey Nut, or Honey Nut, something like that. But I know that some of my friends really grew up on Captain Crunch, and I wasn't. I was later to the game, or I tried it only a few times as a kid.
I love Captain Crunch. This smells like normal Captain Crunch. Like, it just smells like Captain Crunch.
It smells like a cereal.
Sugary, fruity sugar.
Try it dry. Let's do it.
Let's see. Get some of these. I don't know what these puffs are supposed to be.
They're supposed to be ghosts.
Sure, that's fine.
It tastes like Captain Crunch.
Yeah. I'm not mad at it.
Which is delicious. Which is kind of like Puffin-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And we know, as many times as you listen to this podcast, I will always find a way to talk about Puffins.
What's Anastasia's favorite cereal?
Puffins. And if Puffins could do a chocolate version of the cereal that didn't have peanut butter, so I don't go into anaphylactic,
yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't do pumpkin spice. Get over yourself.
I would definitely eat this. This is good cereal.
All right, we're gonna.
But let's see if it actually turns the milk green.
Oh yeah.
Which, like, again, why?
You don't need things to turn green on you.
I don't. No, I don't want anything to turn green. Green is not a
That's
natural
my eye
human color.
How dare you? My eye color is green. You're like.
Yeah, but like
You're not natural
most
either.
things that come out of the human body should not be green. You know what I'm saying?
Boogers are supposed to be green.
Boogers are not supposed to be green. If you're sick, they're green. But if you're healthy, it should be like a clear mucus. So the more you know. This is gross, useless information.
Is it? Or did I just learn that I need to go to the doctor?
That you may have had a sinus infection for years.
For my whole life. I feel like I didn't have enough milk, maybe. Oh, maybe I did. I'm realizing I'm a little bit over milker.
You put too much in at once at
No,
first?
I love it.
Oh,
no,
you
I
like the
want
over milk.
more.
No, see, I relish putting in the exact right amount of milk so that when you finish the cereal, you have like, you don't have to like drink it from the bowl because I hate drinking milk out of the bowl.
Mm.
When I was a kid, I thought it was
love it.
gross and I would dump it out. I was like, this is disgusting.
I love that part.
Weedy milk.
I'm not seeing green. Are you seeing green?
Well, I was ate some. No.
Let me eat some. But
It still tastes like Captain Crunch. Guys, this is just Captain Crunch with some weird food coloring. I think my milk is turning green. That looks more green than milk.
show it to the camera. Mine's not really green. Is that what you're saying? That grayish color? Where
Yeah, like, is that what it's supposed to... Cause, let's see, what's the box look like? The box makes it look like it'll turn into, like, mint chocolate chip ice cream. Like, it will be that nice pastel mint green. But it's not doing that.
Show it to the camera. Because yours is a little bit greener.
Let's see if
not
I can...
really.
Yeah, these are not...
Yeah, it's not green. We're having trouble with these
Like, these
ones.
color change... I know, color changing the dinosaur eggs failed.
Mhm.
But also, like, the dinosaur eggs are totally an excuse to just put sugar in your breakfast oatmeal.
But your breakfast oatmeal already is
Sugar.
because it's like maple and brown
literally,
sugar.
yeah, maple brown sugar flavored. Or, like, apple cinnamon flavored.
But it's a fun little thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this is good cereal. It's a knife up dry. It's a knife up
Wet.
with wet. With wet? What? You know what I'm saying. She's with wet. No. It's good with milk. But I'm not seeing the gimmick that they promised us happen. And their ghosts don't quite look like ghosts. They kind of look like
They're
spaceships or
like-
penises.
misformed. It's like if they were extruded from a machine, but the mix was too wet. And so it's all spread out too much. But yeah, the milk does not really change color. Like, no one be sad if you've missed purchasing this cereal, because you can just buy normal Captain Crunch and it is the same experience.
But there's no weird ghosts that look like rocket penises. And that may be something you're missing out on. I don't know.
Not by
I don't
part
judge.
of your experience.
It's part of my experience now. So let's talk about
Little.
about
Not
Little.
Stuart Little. Sam Little.
Yeah, Sam Little.
He's not a rat that humans inexplicably decided to adopt. I don't know why any that.
Yeah.
I just have a lot of questions about Stuart Little. One of them being why M. Night Shyamalan wrote this script.
Wait, what?
M. Night Shyamalan wrote the script to the live-action Stuart Little movie that came out, you know, like 20 years ago or whatever.
Because he got paid. That's why he did it. So Samuel Little, he claims to have killed 93 people and has these horrendous portraits
Mm-hmm.
of these women. And investigators have linked him to over 60 murders.
Yeah, they've officially confirmed at least 50.
Yeah. He looks like Bill Cosby
That's
or
what I was
one of my
thinking.
uncles. Like
He, like, has
just-
that, yeah, like, grandfather fatherly black man look.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. He's a black man, and he is a serial killer that is like rivaling any other serial killer in our history.
Oh yeah.
And he is 79 years old right now. He was born in 1940, June 7th. I don't know what sign that is, but we can I don't know, whatever.
Gemini,
maybe. And so he was born in Georgia in 1940, in June 7th, 1940. To what he claims, his mother was a prostitute. I don't know why it says that he claims that. I'm not sure what
what bearing that
means.
has
Like,
on
I
anything.
don't know. Like, maybe it's just another chance for him to like belittle a woman that can't speak.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. It doesn't seem like there's a lot to know about his father, so maybe that is what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that he has no father, but he was brought up mainly by his grandmother. So we have that whole thing. Oh, that's nice. I put that on. Yeah, so he grew up with his grandmother. So we have that whole abandonment, neglect. We have an absent
broken
father,
home
broken home. Maybe some weird sexual issue with women because his mother was a prostitute and blah blah blah.
Yeah, he probably had some weird fucked up view on women and sex and gratification.
Exactly. And he got into trouble quite early on. Had discipline and problems and stuff like that in high school, and was arrested for breaking and entering when he 1956. So he was 16 the first time he was arrested, and put in a juvenile institution.
Of course.
So that's a whole other thing that we've talked about.
Yeah.
How that kind of almost solidifies criminals. It almost makes them even more of a criminal.
Yeah, it just throws you into this system that doesn't teach you how to exist outside of this system.
Yeah, and I'm sure, he was, at this time, he's in Nebraska. So he moved in when he was younger, when he was born, with his grandmother and moved to Ohio, and then for some reason so I don't know why this is, but at 16 he's convicted in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. He must have moved, something like that. I'm not quite sure. But then after getting out of the juvenile detention, he moves to Florida. As a black man, that must have been amazing to be in your 20s in 1960 something in Florida. He worked a lot of different jobs, like being a cemetery worker, an ambulance attendant, which I don't know quite what that means. Do you just attend ambulance?
I think it's like not a paramedic, but you like ride in the ambulance, or you like do something with the ambulance at the hospital. I don't know, because the way ambulances work in America makes no sense. So
okay.
They're not owned by the hospital. They're all like private companies, and I don't get it.
Yeah, no, so much of the world is strange.
That's very true.
But he, after that, had been arrested, in 8 different states for crimes including DUI, fraud, shoplifting, solicitation, armed robbery, aggravated assault, and rape.
Fun.
So he is a delight. But it seems like his first murder. Wait, no.
Because he's what, like.
So he's in his 20s at this point.
Yeah.
He goes to jail for 3 years for breaking into a furniture store.
Fun.
In 1964. Or 1961, and then he was released in 1964. And then he got arrested 26 more times in 11 more different states for theft, assault, attempted rape, fraud, attacks on government officials. Interesting. That's all. He's great. In 1982, we have his first charge of murder.
Haha.
Okay, and it's in Mississippi. And he is charged with murdering a 22-year-old woman named Melinda Lepre, who had gone missing in September of that year. A grand jury declined to indict Little for the murder of Lepre, though. So he was
Interesting.
arrested and was not
Charged.
charged.
Okay.
Just
arrested.
Just arrested. But then he was transferred to Florida and charged with the murder of 26-year-old Patricia Mount, whose body was found in September 1982. And they had, so he was put on trial for that murder, but due to mistrust of witness testimonies that had involvement in witnessing parts of the crime, he was acquitted in 1984.
That's what's super interesting to me is the multiple people can see you commit a crime, and it still can mean jack shit at the end of the day. Half the time it's not even admissible in court because it's things become hearsay where it's oh, this person said this thing, but that doesn't prove anything.
Absolutely.
And so it's
and it's the person that's saying it is on trial now.
Yeah.
Are they a good person? Do we deem them worthy in society's eyes?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Which is, I find this kind of a strange situation in general because he had a lot of disadvantage in the justice system.
Oh, for
and
sure.
And yet, it hadn't,
he didn't get,
he wasn't
slammed by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still, he commits, and he says he was active until, 2005, I think?
Something like that.
It was, 20 years of murder.
Yeah, because he moved, then
he moves around a bunch, yeah.
So, he, in 1984, after he got acquitted of that murder, he moves to California, where he is in San Diego. He is arrested for kidnapping, beating, and strangling Lori Barrows, 22 years old, who survived. 1 minute later, he's found by police in the backseat of his car with an unconscious woman, also beaten and strangled, in the same location as the attempt of Barrows. He serves 2.5 years in prison for both of the crimes and is released in 1987, and he immediately moves to Los Angeles, and that is where he is supposedly had committed 10 more murders while he was in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So then, 10 more murders, blah, 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 blah. Nobody catches him, even though he's clearly a super predator.
Yeah.
And we have him attempting to kill women.
But
anyway.
Because he's strangling most of his victims. So in some cases it looks like they died from something else. It doesn't necessarily look like murder.
Does it?
In some of the cases, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he strangled this woman and was beating her, and then the other woman was unconscious and strangled and beaten. What did you think? What did you think the outcome was gonna be? He's trying to kill them.
Oh yeah.
He. Okay, whatever. So that's 1987. That was the last time he was in jail, and in 2012. We have, he is arrested in a homeless shelter in Louisville, Kentucky, after authorities used DNA testing to establish that he was involved in the murder of Carol Elford, Elford?
I don't know.
Elford, okay. And also Guadalupe, okay. There's 3 more women that he's so his DNA matches to 3 more women, and he's currently in a homeless shelter in Louisville, Kentucky, and they were murdered in 1987, and 1989. So all 3 women were killed and later found on the streets of Los Angeles.
Yum.
Yeah, and he was extradited to Los Angeles in January 7th, 2013, and a few months later, he was being investigated for dozens of more murders in the 80s.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because, the floodgates are open now.
Yeah.
And
they have his DNA.
Yeah.
DNA testing is, crazy good now compared to what it was.
And then, because of that, they're starting to look into more cases, and they're starting to look into what areas he lived in. So then they start investigating Mississippi and all these other things. And he has been tested in involvement in 93 murders of women committed in the territory of the United States.
93 murders.
93.
And all women as far as they... No,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And all seem to be strangled. Most seem to be, well, no, I mean, it's kind of...
It's like...
I mean, it's mainly black women.
Yeah.
But there are quite a few white females and Hispanic females. I don't see any males. But this is kind of, strangely enough, like, groundbreakingly weird, you know?
Yeah, there hasn't ever been a black man who murdered with this velocity?
I mean, that we know of.
Yeah,
that we
that's
know
true.
of.
There are probably hundreds of serial killers that we don't know of at all.
Right. I mean, we've discussed it on the show that that society's view of a certain, you know, social position or, you know, ethnicity can severely hamper how much you can get away with in
in all these situations.
Yeah, and that's why, like, there's so many that are, I feel like, that are white, because white men already feel like this ease in anything that they need to do. You know, like, it's like if you have an urge and you come from a place of comfort and privilege, you feel like you can achieve that, you know?
Exactly. It's the I can do no wrong, like,
even
no one's ever no one's ever said no to me, so I'll never have to hear that word.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, a slippery little area.
But it's interesting because he killed primarily women of color who probably weren't going to be investigated. It's like
and that is maybe the reason that he could get away.
That he didn't get found out way sooner.
Right, because I find even like with the crimes that we have gone over, and we haven't really gone over a lot of people of color that are killed, but we are definitely going to get into it, but they usually are, you know, a lot of them kill in their own race.
Yeah, within their own communities.
Within their own community, or even if they are of privilege, they go into the lower communities and kill.
Yeah.
And just like white killers that have gone and killed a whole bunch of minorities, and it takes longer for society to care, which is the saddest fact.
Yeah, it's almost like you need that volume of like 93 women were killed.
Which is so sad.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I mean, if you watch the last season of Mindhunter, they really go into this, like how many, you know, poor black children had to die before they would look into this case.
Yeah, before anyone took it seriously as the like
so
linked case.
And I'd like to say it's different, but you know, I feel like even with like this resurgence of like true crime TV shows, it's always some sweet little white girl
who gets murdered.
Yeah, and then we get so much more funding and so much more like push to solve her crime.
As opposed to any other group of people. And
it's just it's really sad. And there is a podcast that really focuses on this, and so I want to give them a shout out. It's called the Lost Ones Podcast, and it's a true crime racial justice podcast, and you should definitely check it out because that's what it's about. It's about like this kind of stuff, and about getting awareness to people about, you know. Listen, everybody deserves justice.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why this guy got away with it so long. Also, the reason probably is because he hopped around a lot.
Yeah. He
and
moved so much. Yeah.
And he definitely killed in a time... I mean, the majority of his crimes were in the 80s and 90s. And you're talking about DNA's not great.
Yeah.
Follow through with each other, different between states, not great.
Yep.
No systemized, like...
Yeah, there's
way of
like
searching things.
Yeah, there were like databases weren't a thing yet. I think they were just starting to get. I mean, not even with like rape kits or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there were just no good ways to connect police departments working on similar cases.
Yeah.
And even like to this day, that's like jurisdiction becomes a really hard thing, and some like the federal government gets involved and things get fucking annoying.
And I mean, everyone's trying their best. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But things get muddled, and it's better now. It's great.
Yeah. The advances.
Computers and stuff like that, and just like, you know, when you're running DNA, it probably gets run through a whole database.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously not completely all databases, because like I was listening to another podcast, Bear Brook, which we'll probably eventually
we should definitely
talk about.
Yeah.
But they were saying, they run through their DNA for like crimes, but if you're trying to figure out the, you know, victims, or you know, or that person, you don't have their DNA in the system, but you'd have to go outside to like an ancestral DNA thing.
Yeah.
And somebody would have to voluntarily give you access to their DNA, and there is a website that you can volunteer your DNA up for those kind of things, so that they can find your relatives,
who's
or
also
their
serial
victims
killer
or serial killers. Either way, because they can use it both ways, right? But like, you'd have to voluntarily say that.
I'm okay with
I'm
this
okay with
being
that.
used for government purposes.
Right, and here's the thing, like, you have to be okay with saying, like, if my uncle's a serial killer, like, I did that.
Yeah, I put my DNA out there, and I'm the reason that he's caught or whatever.
Right. Which, listen, if my uncle is a serial killer,
like, I really need to know.
I would love for their victims to get justice, but I also, you know, it makes it.
Yeah, and I still have
It
to
makes it
live
hard.
my life.
Right? Like, I still have to. I'm not gonna be popular at any.
No.
For the family.
No.
Not that should dictate whether or not you help me.
Whether or not you help the government. But and a lot of these sites now, I think, have, like, if you do Ancestry.com or 23andMe, have options where you can be like, share my results with, you know, the site, share my results with this person, share my... but if you don't even want, like, the ancestry, like, if you personally are like, I really don't want any of this information, I just want my DNA to be in this database, you can go and just, like, submit, like, a cheek swab or whatever it is.
Yeah, you definitely have the option to do that, but I do think that it's pretty awesome that DNA is catching all these guys, and it's so weird. Like, he's so old, right? He's 70, not so old. He's not so old. He's older. He's like 79. You know, it's just like the Golden State, which we should definitely discuss as well.
Yes.
These guys have, like, settled now. Like, they're like, I'm not getting
I won't get caught. Yeah.
I'm done.
Yep.
Or I'm not done, or whatever it is.
But
they've settled into their, like, existence
and
for so many years.
And they're clearly the people who aren't in it for the, like, glory of being known as the person who did all these murders. Like, they just really enjoy murder.
I mean, whatever their
whatever it is,
reason that,
but it's not because it's clearly not the, like, Ed Kemper or, like, that person who's
Ed
like,
Kemper's a whole other thing we should discuss.
I just have to, because there are, like, multiple serial killers who have called and confessed. And been like, no, this is where it is, and, like, this is how, and, like, could have lived their whole lives, but, like, needed people to give them the recognition of, like, oh, you're the person who did this terrible thing. And, like, it's so interesting to me that Sam Little killed, like, 100 people, and at no point was he, like, writing into newspapers, giving them hints, or, like, trying to draw it out.
Painting pictures of them.
Which is so
weird. And I imagine this, like, older man just watching, you know,
George W.
like,
Bush
on,
status,
like on his like little sun porch, just thinking nobody freaking caught me.
Yeah.
And I live my life, and I paint these pictures. Obviously, he was not living a great life. He was
homeless.
But this is my mind, okay? These older guys that are getting caught in these crimes, it's just like they have. I feel like in their mind, probably resigned to thinking, "This is it. I'm never
I've
getting
made
caught.
it.
I've made it past the finish line.
Yeah.
I'm good." And then all at once,
boom. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's like if we ever do Whitey Bulger, him getting caught is like one of the most interesting things.
Oh, we'll definitely have to do that. But yeah, like I just imagine it's like making it. It's like making it home safe, or making like being on home base, and just being like, I'm here, I'm good, and then they're like, nope,
it doesn't count,
and it's great.
It's like
kind of great.
It's like being in a horror movie where you like are, you know, it's like the third act and you're like almost out and you're like, yes, finally, and then that one last like swing comes in and it's like, God fucking damn it. I thought I was safe. I thought it was all over. It's almost dawn, and then it's like, haha, no.
Yeah. And it's kind of, like, in this case, kind of beautiful, because fuck these guys.
It is, yes.
You know what I mean?
Put them away.
Yeah,
They've murdered too many people.
And I know some people, like, I know even, you know, when some of these older people get caught, I've heard people go, well, they're old now. They're not even the same person. Of putting them away at this point. The point is, you flippin' did it.
Yeah,
you're still that person. You just
still
don't
like
move that quickly anymore.
Punishment for it.
Yeah, I
and
have no empathy for it.
No, and especially not in cases of like murder and rape, where it's like, why are there statutes of limitations on these crimes? Like, these are the worst crimes you can commit to another person, and it's like, well, I'm sorry, that happened 12 years ago, so no one can be tried for it anymore. And it's like, what?
Statute of limitation is such a weird.
It's so, because like some things make sense. If it's like, you know, some type of felony larceny where it's like you stole a used car, say. Let's say you steal like a used Ford, and it's like, okay, I stole this car because I was desperate and I had no money and I like literally was living on the streets, and then this car, you know, I stole it and I like turned my life around, and now I'm like really regretful that I stole it, and it's like 25 years later. It's like, are you gonna try me for stealing this used car that it was like didn't harm anybody in the process?
I mean, that's like the Piper of Orange is the New Black, right?
Exactly, and it's the kind of thing where like, what did anyone gain by sending her to prison?
A whole 7 seasons. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that anybody gains anything, but I do understand that a crime is a crime. And
yes, someone should answer for it.
These like small, like, so you stealing somebody's car years and years ago may not have affected, like, now you're a good person, whatever, but you don't know what it did to that person. You don't know. Also, like, I don't know that crime wasn't just another crime attached to another crime that could have just, like, you know, like, even, like, with the Cold podcast, right? He sold his car, he did this whole thing. Or, you know, like, and it was connected to a murder. He was covering it up, Like, what about somebody stealing somebody's car in Texas? And then because he stole it, like, because we know he was there in Texas stealing that car and was convicted of that crime, now we know that he freaking murdered everybody in Oklahoma. I don't know. You know what I'm just saying?
No, I know. I understand what you're saying. It's statutes of limitations are hard because it's like there's like a, you can go way too far with it. It's like it's like minimum maximums or maximum minimums.
Yeah.
Where it's like there are certain crimes where it's like, no, you absolutely have to give at least X amount of time in prison. It does not matter who it is or what they're doing. Like, this is what happens. And it's like, those are designed to help people, but really they just get thrown at like the lowest part of society, and it just fucks everything.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a bigger sign about the justice system than statute of limitation. I think that personally, statute of limitation should probably be taken off of a lot of crimes.
Yeah.
Because you never know if that's the only way you're gonna get somebody.
Yeah.
And justice system is fucked, and sometimes the only way we can get some of these people
Is
like especially like
or
these
some
like
shit.
freaking mobsters is because they wrote a bad check, they stole a car, they blah, whatever, and then you throw the maximum prison sentence for that. Fucker got off the street, thank the fucking Lord.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No, I agree, but then it's like,
but violent crimes should have no statute of limitation, especially now that we're getting better at frickin' technology.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All the things that we could solve. And then I'm talking not just murder, I'm talking like rape.
Yeah,
like,
violent assaults, like...
Yeah, like why is there a statute of limitation when these guys, that's a starter crime too.
It's crazy. I just read an article in The Atlantic that talked about the rape kit epidemic in America and how there are all of these rape kits that like got tested and taken, and some of them are like, women within like 2 hours of the crime occurring going to the police and doing this, so it's like fresh DNA that has been sealed in some storage locker for like years and years and years now, and now they're finally working through the backlog and finding that like there are multiple offense rapists who have then gone on to commit murders or violent robberies or like things like that, that now they're like, oh, if we just tested all of these 20 years ago or whatever it is, 10 years ago, then we could have caught this guy who committed like 29 other rapes.
And this is why the statute of limitations
it's like, what the fuck? Yeah.
It frustrates me so much that I also think that rape is just not considered as much of a crime as it should be. Because it is a starter crime, but it also is like extremely violent and extremely especially women. I'm not saying like also men. The crime of rape is just so much bigger than people. It's like, oh, they got raped.
Yeah.
What did they do wrong? Like,
yeah.
What did they and it's never like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just, it's so much bigger than they
give it credit for. Yeah.
And I think it is because the epidemic of rape is usually women or men that are gay.
Yeah, or in some type of compromising situation.
And these are the people that society does not really care a lot about.
So, according to the internet, there under certain California laws, there is no statute of limitations for offenses punishable by death, like felony murder. Offenses punishable by imprisonment for life, or life without the possibility of parole, again, like murder, or embezzlement of public money. And so in California, there's so if you commit a murder here, and there's no statute. Like 60 years later, someone can still try you.
But rape, you can't.
Yeah, because I don't think rape is punishable by imprisonment for life or death.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be, but it is not.
So the statutory period for bringing a case begins when a criminal offense is discovered. So for any statute of limitations.
But what does that mean exactly? Does that mean
then it becomes legalese, where it's like, okay, but what does that mean?
So like this guy, right?
Yes.
He raped some girls in 1987.
Yeah.
We didn't discover that he actually did that crime. That he actually did that crime.
Yes.
Until 2000.
Yeah. But is it... What did they ever report it as a crime? Because I think that's what the police would consider the discovery of the crime, is them coming and saying, "Hey, this crime happened to me."
I mean, it just doesn't speak
well
to people wanting to report crime, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It makes you want to just do your own.
Hide it.
It makes me want to just do my own rape kit. And just keep it and go, you found the fucker, here you go.
Great. Here's some proof. Here, I'll give you some evidence.
Because I know statute of limitation would not let me report this.
This shit wasn't going to help anyone if I went to court anyway.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So it's tricky and exhausting, and I'm really glad that I'm not a criminal lawyer. It's the moral of that story.
I could not.
Couldn't do it.
I mean, either side. defending these fuckers or prosecuting these fuckers. I'm not sure which is worse.
No, you have to listen to so much terrible information.
Yeah.
That, like, I would probably last, like, 6 months, and then my brain would explode, and I'd, like, throw 9,000 papers in a courtroom and just walk out and be like, cool, Maria had a breakdown.
Well, yeah, I mean...
like, there would be no other option.
Definitely, you get your psychological...
Yeah, you gotta get that shit in, like, serious check before you become a criminal.
Regularly,
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, regularly be like, yep, I'm not doing good.
Let's go back in here.
Let's
Let's
do this again.
Reset, restart.
But I always wanted to, like, not prosecute or anything, but I did want to, like, work for the behavioral science unit.
Yeah.
And, like, just know what the fuck these guys are thinking.
Yeah, the, like, internal process.
Because what is this guy thinking? I mean, I don't know why he's in a homeless shelter. I don't know anything to his mental status. Like, we're starting to get to know stuff about him, but not enough. And, like, I don't know if he's of sane mind, what his family life is like.
But because we caught him and he's alive, hopefully they can interview him and get some of these answers and do some of that, like, forensic testing that we didn't get to do. And that's what you see, like, when you go back and really look into all of these people, is there are so many murderers and serial killers that, like, nobody ever got to because they either committed suicide in prison or got the death penalty and it was, like, actually carried out pretty quickly.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, there's, like, well, like, yeah, there's just a lot of them. Like, Eileen Wuornos. You know, there were, like, documentaries and Time and stuff, but no one ever really sat down
and talked to her
with her and talked to her in that, like, psychological aspect. There's just that, like, documentary dude who talked to her who was clearly just making a documentary about how you can make a bunch of money being a murderer and selling your story.
And there's some people that have gotten so much of that. I feel like Gacy, there's, like, this whole, we definitely have to do Gacy one of these days. But Gacy, there's a documentary, I think, on Netflix.
Yeah.
Where somebody went and interviewed him, and he actually, like, assaulted the guy in fucking jail when he was fucking interviewing him.
Oh, yeah, it's horrible.
Like, I mean, it's just, like...
Or then you have people like Ted Bundy, where there's, like, 19,000 hours of documentary footage of people interviewing him, and, like...
It's just so disgusting.
People writing books interviewing him and about him, and, like, he must have spent all of his time in prison exclusively talking about himself, like, based on...
was in heaven, wasn't he?
Just so happy to be recognized for all of his achievements.
Which is just,
But yeah, so it's interesting because you get guys like that where it's like, of course he'll talk to everyone, like, that's what he wanted out of the whole deal, but it's like, no, I want someone to go interview Sam Little and be like, what the fuck? Why? Why did you do this? Like, what's going on up here? How did you commit 93 murders and just, like, continue waking up every morning and eating breakfast?
And, like, walk around with your sketch pad full
of dead women you murdered. What do you do? Do you
like,
show
I don't even
people
know
that?
how,
Like,
yeah,
if
like,
someone came over, would you be like, hey guys, let me show you this art I'm working on real quick?
Came over to the shelter?
That's true. Well, he must have had a house at some point.
I don't know.
But, like, yeah, like, how did he end up in a homeless shelter?
Yeah, I have so many questions more than I have
there's
answers.
so much that we don't know yet that I, like, can't wait for all the documentaries.
Yeah, I hope there are documentaries.
I hope
there are books and
that people really dive into this, because there's a lot that can be learned about just, like, the human condition.
Yeah, we're just getting to know him. We're just getting to know his crimes.
Just getting to know him.
We're
Our
just
good friend
getting...
Sam.
Not my good friend. But we're just getting to know the crimes. We're just getting to know this individual that might be the biggest serial killer of our time.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious. I'm just so curious.
Endlessly.
Like,
there's
like,
so much.
He just, like, looks like Uncle James.
Yeah.
Or Uncle,
yeah, just like your generic, like,
Uncle James.
Uncle.
You know, but
I got you.
Like, I have lots of Uncle Jameses. It's not you. Like, he looks like your Uncle Joe or something.
Yeah.
You know, he just looks like your dude.
Yeah, you're just
the
like
dude.
cash uncle
Yeah.
who like comes to family barbecues and brings some hot
Might be a little
dogs.
creepy.
Like,
and you're
yeah.
like, okay, my husband a little too
Maybe
young.
says some weird stuff about your cousin who's 13, but like everyone kind of just laughs it
Like,
off. It's like, oh, Uncle Joe is
okay.
weird. You know?
Yeah, and then you're just like, okay.
Yeah, and then everything ends and he leaves and it's like nothing is amiss. Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's what he looks like.
But yet, something is amiss. Not with
Lots
any
of
of my
murder.
family members. I'm not saying any of my family members
Are murderers.
What I'm saying is, there somebody.
The appearance, this
somebody's
guy
uncle
looks like,
Yes,
yeah,
he
yeah,
looks
yeah.
like somebody's uncle. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to unpack that we have nothing to unpack.
I know.
There's so much questions and nothing to
And there's
unpack.
no information. Yeah,
Right.
it's just us sitting here asking a bunch of questions.
So if you know any of the answers to these questions, or if you're Samuel Little and you want to talk to us, we're not going to talk to you.
No,
maybe.
thank you.
Maybe
I know.
a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
Depends on what jail you go to.
I'm not going there. Okay?
No, you're not gonna.
Maybe.
I'm fine.
Where are you?
I really- I'm
California?
good.
All right, fine.
All right.
I'm such a pushover.
So easy.
So easy. That's our show about Samuel Little, and he gets a knife down.
He gets a knife down, and all of his murders get a knife down.
all of
'cause
his murders.
all murder, as always, gets a knife down.
Yeah, and our hearts and thoughts and love are to the victims and the victims' families, and I
But,
can't even imagine. But knife.
Knife up to our cereal.
I'm kind of like knife up.
I'm gonna give it a
Question
knife
mark.
up because it's just fucking Captain Crunch.
But I feel like my.
It is just Captain Crunch.
But I feel like I was promised.
You were
something.
promised. You were
I
promised that
can't
your
do
milk
this.
would turn green. I don't know. There's no good way. And then milk did not turn green. If anything, it turned like a weird, sad brown color.
It's kind of gross.
It's like unappealing, honestly.
So I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna give it a knife up. I don't care if the milk is gross.
I'm gonna say knife up for flavor. I'm both dry and wet. I'm gonna say knife down for the gimmick you tried to sell me and did not
That's
succeed in doing.
No, that's
No.
a bad gimmick.
No. You can find us at Pod Serial Killer on all social media. You can, tweet at us, email us at
podserialkiller@gmail.com.
There's no
That's our
two
email.
ads, it's just one ad.
Just podserialkiller@gmail.com.
And let us know what kind of pairings you'd like to see, if you have any, insights or suggestions. Favorites. We'd love to hear them. We'd love to talk about them. We'd love to give you a shout out. So email, tweet, Instagram, whatever. I respond pretty quickly. Don't be shocked. You're like, wow,
That's fast.
it's not because I don't have anything to do.
No, that's not it.
I literally
It's
do
not.
have like everything to do, but I do it
This
all
is
at
way
once.
easier.
You can find me at Anastasia W on Twitter, at Anastasia Wash on Instagram, Anastasia TV on YouTube.
You can follow me on Twitter if you want to, but I'm not that interesting. But it's Maria Immortality.
Wow, she led that really good. You can follow our other podcast, One More Drink, at
One More
One
Drink,
Drink
Pod on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.com/groups/One More Drink.
Yeah, and be sure to like and subscribe and rate and comment,
Etc.
and all that stuff, because we love it, and we also, that helps us.
Yeah.